Hello all, welcome to Insightsias. We are continuing the initiative of Think Before You Ink. So last session I had spoken about history questions, and now this sessions I'll be taken about the previous year economic questions. Largely I've taken up questions from the CDS 2023. So quickly let's get into the question. The first question they've asked, which of the following situations can lead to inflation? So any basic idea of inflation, you'll know that inflation is largely associated with what? When the aggregate demand will overcome the supply. So if you look at the options here, they've given rapid growth of aggregate demand outweighing the supply, sluggish growth of aggregate demand, it does not lead to inflation, high levels of unemployment. You can say unemployment associated with low economic growth and high inflation, that can be called as stagflation in that regard. So that is not part of the answer. So here the answer is reduction in money supply. Actually inflation, money supply will be more, we need to reduce the money supply. So answer is A. So a straightforward answer in that regard, easy answer, the answer is A. Now let's move on to the next question. The contraction of private investment due to deficit spending by the government. So what do you mean by deficit spending by the government? That the government is spending the money in that regard. So here if you see, usually what will happen is that when the interest rates are very high in that regard, there is also reduction in the private investments and the government spending increases. So here we can say that crowding in is what? Crowding in is decrease in the government spending, crowding out is what? Increase in the government spending. So here the question they've asked is that what is leading to the contraction of private investment and due to the spending of deficit spending by the government, it is called as crowding out. So crowding in is the opposite. It is what? Where there is a decrease in the government spending in that regard, there is increase in private investment. Pump priming in that regard. So basically during the times of low growth in that regard, the government or a monetary policy where they're going to put more funds into the market, that is called as pump priming. Dumping, it is associated when they are going to export of a particular product and they're selling below the market price, and there's a high level of subsidization in that regard which leads to distortion of the market, that we call as dumping. So please also read about the other three things also, because they might ask questions in these areas. Next question is about a scheme in that regard. Which of the following strategies is or are adopted for implementing Poshan Abhiyan? So here let us look into what are the two statements. It is an intersectoral convergence for better service delivery. It is correct, because you can say there is a convergence between Ministry of Women Child Development, Ministry of Ayush in that regard. So it's a convergence between different ministry. And use of technology for real-time growth monitoring for women and children. So Poshan Abhiyan, you can say it is linked to addressing the nutritional needs, etc. So this scheme was launched in September 2018. It covers children to 0 to 6 years, and recently also you can say Poshan 2.0 has been launched. So the answer for this question is C, that is both 1 and 2. Now let's move on to the next question. Which of the following policies help to raise the interest rate unambiguously and thereby leading to appreciation of the currency? So any policy that leads to rise in interest rate, so obviously it can't be expansionary in nature, so you can remove that. So here they've given contractionary fiscal and monetary policy, contractionary fiscal and expansionary monetary policy. Here contractionary monetary policy, but there should be an expansionary fiscal policy. So the answer for this question is D in that regard. Let's move on to the next question. Which of the following are the submissions of the National Skill Development Mission? So friends, there are 7 submissions of the National Skill Development Mission. One is institutional training, infrastructure, convergence, trainers, overseas employment, sustainable development, and public infrastructure. So if you see, public infrastructure is there, overseas employment is there, institutional training is there. So answer is C. That is 1, 2 and 3. So these were the questions of today. And the tip for the day is that since the prelims is just 6 more days or 7 more days, so again please try to go through the questions what you solved again and again. It will be like a revision through questions in that regard, rather than trying to read anything new or trying to solve any new questions. And second one, please be very calm, watch some motivational movies if it is required. Don't get unnecessarily tensed, or don't fall trapped to this FOMO in that regard. You have not read this thing or the other thing. End of the day, your calmness is what will take you across the line, and don't get tense regarding in whichever the format the question paper comes. So with this, we'll meet again tomorrow with a new set of economic questions. Till then, take care. Thank you.